Jake, how you doing? Thank you very much for joining us here on GeekCurio.
Hello, Andy. I'm doing well, and I'm very excited to be here, ready to talk about minis, ready to get into it.
Excellent, excellent. So, how are you today? I hear it's your day off today, is that right?
Yes, yeah, my first day off in 3 days. First 3 days working as a bartender. Two of them, I was supposed to be trained. I was only trained for one of them, so I got to take over the bar by myself for that.
hmm
It was an experience, but a good one, actually.
Didn't
So,
you
yeah,
just
just
get
gonna hang out.
qualified last week or something?
Yeah, yeah. So the whole 2 week class, and
hmm
then picked up a job a week later, and actually got picked up two of them. So
Oh, wow. So,
really diving in. Yeah,
literally, you are, 1 week you walk into a school and then 2 weeks later you're running the bar. You know,
yeah,
tip.
and it's powerful. It's very powerful. I love it. So,
Excellent, excellent. Anyway, we obviously you've come to me because we want to talk about minis, don't we? So, and I want to know about your journey and your experiences with miniature painting. So, the first question I've got to ask is, how did you get into miniature painting in the first place?
so I started playing God, about 2 years ago,
hmm
right? And I used tokens on a battle mat, printed those tokens out myself, pretty basic stuff, just got that done. And then I saw one of my friends was painting minis for our table, for another game that I played. And I saw that, I'm like, oh, wow, okay, that's very cool. Well, first of all, this guy is just like Tommy.
hmm
He hammers out minis. It's wild.
A
I saw
machine.
that, I'm like, that is amazing. But yeah, so I saw him painting,
hmm
and I he actually painted the first painted mini that I ever owned, which I don't have because my dog did it.
Yes,
I
yes,
do
we know
have
that.
like the higher level version of it because it came with the Whiz Kids
Oh
little pack
yeah,
with two
yeah.
of wizards, and yeah, so I got that. He like showed me that mini painting was a thing, and from there I just started kind of exploring into it. I found out about the Reaper Learn to Paint kits, and I'm
hmm
like, okay, well, yeah, I've got a bunch of time over the summer in between school semesters, so I figure I'll just start exploring, and it's just blossomed from there. It started with the one Reaper Learn to Paint, then into the second one, which is like Layer Up,
Yeah.
and then I just started getting my own, and it's blossomed. I love it.
How many have you painted so far then?
That's a good question. I would say, if we're counting the ones that my dog sees, which is only four, so we're good there.
Okay.
I probably painted about 45 minis, maybe 50.
hmm
Sadly, don't have pictures of all of them,
That's
but
okay. That's
yeah,
okay.
about 45 to 50. And the number is growing as I paint more and more. Like I said, I cannot put it down. Like I just am drawn to my table to paint.
hmm
I'm like having a space for that is so nice. I love it.
You're not thinking about painting minis when you're supposed to be working on the bar and making people cocktails and
So
yeah.
I mean, a little bit, right? Because Alan Gorilla just had his class the other day, which I had to miss because of work.
Me too.
And I was definitely thinking about that. I was like, well, I really want to learn color theory. Still have to go back and watch that. And yeah, it is. I do admit, it comes up throughout the day in my head, but it's like, okay, I can get to that at the end of the day. It's not
hmm
taking over my life yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not
No,
yet.
but the temptation to first of all, the temptation to buy more minis. Wow. But
Yes.
I have to hold myself back. I had to like chain myself. My pile of shame at the moment, I think, is like 4 or 5.
Boxes.
My online pile of shame, on the other hand. Oh no, 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 no.
Just four
Four
or
or
five
five
minis.
miniatures. That's it. Yeah.
I've already
So it's
shown
really on
you
a
what
pile of
I've
shame.
got. This is just one of many.
So I like I said, I've changed myself back.
hmm
My pile of shame is it's sitting on the Reaper website
Yeah.
in a shopping cart. And I go back and I look at it and I add some new stuff and I'm like, oh yeah, this will be cool when I get to that. It will be, absolutely. But thankfully I'm not spending a ton of money on it yet.
Yeah.
That's why I started working, so I can actually buy more minis. And also wait, but you know.
Well, I've got to admit your willpower alone is just really, really good because I don't know anyone who only has 4 minis unpainted. You might be one of the first. I think even Tommy's got like a bag full, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, Tommy sent that picture of his whole shelf full of them.
Hmm.
But to be fair, he was also gifted a lot of them, so it's not like it was like an intentional plan.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true.
Right, but still, yes, four, four minis. But like I said, the rest of it is digital, and as soon as I finish this box out, I'm sure there's probably going to be like 30 more. We'll see how long those take to paint.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I will check in on you in about 2 months' time and just check what your pile of shame's at. So I'll hold you to that.
Oh, yeah. The pile of shame will exist in 2 months. 100.
Yeah.
I can take 4 minis in 2 months and then also buy 30 something.
Yes, yes. You know how it works now. Regarding the painting that you've been doing recently, because I've noticed that you've been picking up a few techniques and tips from Alan, and recently you showed. I mean, it was a brilliant work in progress, but it was your non-metallic metal, which you were doing on an ogre. Tell me how that was how it felt to be able to do that as well, because I haven't done non-metallic metal yet. So, you're one rung above me already.
Well, it was terrifying at first.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I sat down and I looked at this ogre, unpainted, and it was a huge job. Right? He is big compared to some of the other ones.
Yeah.
The biggest one I've done so far. So I look at him, and he has so much metal on him. But I also figured, if I'm gonna get started on this, I might as well pick up bigger ones so that I can like easily pick it out and see blending.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of research into it. Asked Alan a bunch of questions because I had no idea what I was doing,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of figured it out as I went. But I am like extremely pleased with how it turned out. It was an experiment, and it was rewarding. I look at this and I'm like, wow. Like I showed my mom, I showed my dad, I showed my sister. When I just the like left shoulder pad or shoulder plate. Yes. I'm like, look at this. This is like metal, right? And they're like, oh wow, that looks like metal. I'm like, but it's not. No. No.
It's just loads of greys and whites.
Excited. And I'm so happy. I can't stop doing it. I have a strong aversion to metallic paints just because of the way that they apply. And I've like heard, oh, they're not good for your brushes, or they don't thin down very well, right? Mm-hmm. So I like my paints thin. I just try to stay away from them. And it's like, if I can do NMM, which I kind of can. If I can do it, why not? It might take more time, but I'll learn into it, just like I did with shadows and highlights and stuff like that.
Well, I see you've done one, so now it's just doing it on the next one, the next one, the next one. And to be honest with you, like I say, when I remember seeing the work in progresses that you did, and I was like, God, that guy is good. And I was just jealous because, let's say, my stuff has been packed up for a couple of months now, so I have literally done almost no painting whatsoever. And I always wanted to do non-metallic metal, and I think you've actually inspired me to do it on my next one once I'm up and running again. So thank you for that, Jake.
Do it. Start as soon as you can. You will not regret it, because as soon as you do one, you start on the next one, and it's just like it's rewarding. It really is, and that's like the beauty of trying new things and like experimenting with paints and things like that. There's so many different things you can do, so many new like techniques that you can try. And I think it's like a good sort of metaphor for life, right? Like you never know what you can do until you try it. I
Yes.
had no idea. I was like, oh my gosh, NMM. Like I look at these like the Games Workshop models, especially the 40K models, are just insane. The quality that I see people doing
Yeah.
on NMM. But like that first model that I did really made me realize, like, okay, I can get to that point, and I can paint like just like these people. You really just have to work for it. And for as seriously scary as it was when I first started doing it, it's like, you know, it's not perfect, but it is almost like second nature. It's just like I go into it and I do it,
Yeah.
and I don't worry about it. I keep
You
getting
just
better as you go.
you just get lost with holding the mini and the paintbrush and just applying the paint and thinking about it, which is great. And that's what I love about
Exactly.
miniature painting.
4 hours later, you got some painted armor and NMM. You're good.
Excellent. So, what type of paints are you using? Is it the Reaper MSPs that you're using then? Because you mentioned about the Learn to Paint kits. So is that what you normally stick
Yes.
with?
Yeah. So I use a lot of Reaper. And I started with the Learn to Paint, expanded beyond. I actually haven't bought a ton of extra or other Reaper paint. Although I like the idea of paint is just as tempting as miniatures to buy. Because there are so many different kinds of paint that it's like I can have a highlight, a shade, a brighter highlight. It's like you can have everything in paint. I'm trying to keep it simple-ish. So I have a bunch of Reaper MSPs. I did a miniature Monday kit from Reaper too, and that came with some nice paints. Got like a nice little copper verdigris, like a jungle moss, alien goo, you know,
Oh, cool.
the good paints. They're very nice paints.
Yeah.
Very bright colors. I like them. But actually, I don't only use Reaper. I mean, I did jump in and get some Agrax Earthshade and Gnome Oil.
That's everyone has to have it.
Oh,
It's the
wow.
law.
I love it. I don't know how you could paint without it. And when Tommy said, like, I put it on everything, I'm like, this guy, he's got it right. You really, like,
Yeah.
can put this on everything. And then also, the Army Painter has a D&D starter set that I was like, okay, that's some like nice colors. It's like 36 paints or something like that.
Yes.
Comes with it for a pretty affordable price. I like them. I prefer Reaper, but for what it's worth and for the price of it, absolutely. Like they're good paints. They get the job done.
Excellent. And do you find yourself looking at brushes yet? Because that's my next thing.
Not yet. Not yet. No, I know it's a thing, right? So I actually I use Winsor Newton. I killed 1 Series 7 size 1 brush. Let me tell you, my brush care when I started painting was like here. And now my brush care is like up to here because I know what can happen. I know what can happen if you don't treat your brushes right.
Yeah.
And so far, like with these other Winsor Series 7s, I've treated them right, and they're lasting, and they're fantastic brushes. But I do want to explore, I think it's Raphael.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, I've heard good things about those. And then there is one more brand. Can't remember the name, but brushes are very cool. Oh no, it's okay. I was just going to say, like, as I get more into it, I'm sure I'm going to expand because I've heard like, oh, the Raphael brushes, they got like nice sharp tips. The Winsor Newtons hold a lot of paint. But from what I've heard, like the Raphaels, they got like they're awesome for detail work. So I will definitely be buying them at some point. I love brush. I love a good brush.
I think I'll be getting the Raphael as well. So it's Tim has got some, and Tim said they were the best things yet. He couldn't describe how good they were. And then Alan uses a combination of Raphael's and another brand, but I can't remember what it is. But it seems everyone's swearing by the Raphael's at the moment, so I think that's probably going to be my next big purchase. But I need to look after brushes more, so I just buy the Army Painter ones every 3 months. Let's talk about some of your miniatures that you painted. So we've already seen the non-metallic metal one that you did, but you were showing me the wizard. Was that the wizard who's blasting something out of his hand as well?
The wizard blasting the lightning or whatever this blue color is. Yeah, here he is. And he was like one of my most recents after I took a break. I don't know if I mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he was a fun little paint. Kind of stretching my legs a little bit, getting into highlights, not so much shadows, but no, I like him. I'm happy with him. He's got I don't know if you can pick it up on the camera, he's got a nice cop mustache that, I look at that, right, like a nice little 80s kind of, 80s cop mustache.
Like Boogie Nights type thing.
I look at this miniature, and I see his mustache, and no shame on mustaches, but his mustache bothers me.
Why? What's wrong with his...
I don't know. It doesn't fit him. In the images that WizKids have of him, like the previous him painted, his hair is white and is like, I might have just painted that mustache on. I cannot remember if it's like actually modeled on, but I think it's white.
Yeah.
On the like painted one that they show. So I don't know. I'm not thrilled about it because he does look like a cop, right?
I know you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
Odd because my family has this history. Like my dad has had a cop mustache. My two uncles have had cop mustaches, like those furry little mustaches.
Yeah, like Dr. Disrespect.
Yep. Yep.
That's what you'll have to call it. You'll have to call him Dr. Disrespect.
I don't know.
Either that or you painted like just your family's Tash. So, have you not thought about growing one yourself?
So actually just shaved today. No, it comes and there's a little bit of fur there. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. Give it right off.
I did it one November.
A little bit of stubble, it looks okay too.
Yeah.
But once we get into like long territory, that's I think pushing it for me. Other people looks great. Yourself? Looks good, Andy.
Oh, cheers, thank you. I did actually have a mustache once. I did it for charity, and do you know about Movember? Do you have Movember in the States?
Yes. Yeah. No.
So
November.
yeah. But it was just the mustache, so I had to shave here, and I kept growing that, and it's the first time I'd ever grown a mustache, and it was the itchiest thing in my entire life, and literally November 30th at midnight, I was shaving that thing off.
See, now I've heard, and it's weird that I know this. Like, there's a lot that goes into mustache care. So maybe, I don't know. I'm not accusing you of not caring for your mustache, but there are ways to make it not as bad.
Yes, yeah. It's, to be honest with you, you caught me. I did not care for that mustache whatsoever. But previously, I've had beards and mustaches. That's okay. But a mustache on its own is hard work. It's hard work. So you have to earn it.
And it's funny. I was just thinking that is the only miniature. Yeah, that's the only miniature that I've painted. I'm almost certain that has a mustache.
I think there's a distinct lack of mustaches in miniatures, and I think this has got to be a thing because you get the wizards with the full beards,
right? But
you don't get just a mustache. So I'm gonna take my hat off to you for adding the mustache, and I'm gonna do my best to add more mustaches in future. I think it's got to be a thing. Yeah.
Model my own mustaches. Absolutely. Maybe Reaper or another company will put out like a mustache pack. They got their weapon pack. They got their mustache pack.
And the flavored paints. We could go into business together.
We really could. Like, let's open our own game store.
Game store.
Partner
So,
with my dude.
and you can just put mustaches on anything. So it'd be like an elf mustache. Just add mustaches to
Oh,
everything. Orc mustache.
hawk? A hawk?
Orc. Sorry,
Orc.
goblins with mustache. Yeah,
Orc. Okay, I
orc.
was
Yeah,
gonna say a hawk with a mustache. That's you can put a mustache, like you said, on anything.
on anything, and it'll naturally improve it. Um,
Oh,
but the other thing that I liked about your work when I was looking for it earlier is you do have a lot of attention to detail. The one thing that you go for, and which scared the hell out of me, is the eyes. I have noticed that you do actually make sure that you dot the I's and everything, and that's great.
a little bit. A little bit. And actually, oh gosh, I wish I could. I'll get you a picture of the one that I'm working on right now.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
very
yes,
happy with
please.
that. I even, tried, like, I painted the eyes, painted the iris, people, whatever, and it looks really good. Like, he looks. I'm happy with it.
Mhm.
It's terrifying, I admit, right? Because you can very much screw up your miniature as soon as you paint like the black in the socket, and it's like, oh well, I missed a bit. Paint the black paint sticks
Yeah.
wherever it goes. I don't know if that's like just a me thing, but it does not like to come off the spots that it goes. So it's definitely a risk, but I'm like, if I can make my person like not just have this flat face,
Hmm.
because as humans, we're naturally drawn to see the eyes, right?
Yeah.
And a miniature looks so much more finished when it does, which is like with this one that I'm working on right now. I look at his head and I'm like this is basically a painted miniature, even though like the whole lower half of the miniature isn't
Hmm.
painted. The eyes really just complete it. So yeah, it's definitely something that I'm working on. But it's a fun part of it too because it can really paint it. There's no getting around it with Reaper miniatures. Like GW models, a lot of them, they just have the helmets. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, paint the helmet, you're good to go. These, it's like, okay, I could have these empty eye sockets, or I could like give them googly eyes. I think my ogre has a little bit of googly eyes.
Googly eyes are the best.
He looks very disappointed, and it's like crazy the amount of emotion that you can portray in eyes too. To
Yes.
be completely honest, the eyes that I've done so far, I just kind of dot them, and I'm like, yeah, he's confused. Confused, or is
And then you sell
angry.
it.
Like, however it comes out the first time, that's how it's getting done. But yeah, eyes, they're a challenge. They really are.
Yeah, yeah. But when I was looking through the pictures that you had, I was like, oh my god, he's actually, the ones that I saw, you actually had it dead center, and I was like, it's when you just finished a miniature and you're like, I need to dot these eyes. However, I could completely ruin this, and I was just really impressed. I see you must have a very, very steady hand, a lot steadier than mine.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and this is a good tip. I I've stopped doing eyes last. I
All
actually
right.
do it like as soon as I can get it out of the way so that I ruin less. And it
Yes.
actually is tough.
Final question that I'd like to ask you is: obviously, you've been doing this for 2 years, and you told us how you got into miniature painting and what your journey is. What advice would you have for someone wanting to get into miniature painting?
Oh, um, you know, the biggest thing that I've picked up for myself is be scared
Hmm.
of that next big thing because you're not there yet. But don't let that fear keep you from getting to that
Hmm.
point. Gosh, I remember when I first joined the Goblins of Mordor server and became a patron, and I saw Alan's work, Gorilla's work. I'm like he was painting the wise woman at that point, and I'm like,
Yes.
this is insane. The quality of this is wild. Like that actually scared me
Hmm.
because I was like, that someone can paint this well. Um, because I was like, I don't know if I can get to that point, but really, it's all about being open to experimentation. The beauty of it is, if you're like buying Reaper Bones, your canvas is $4, $3 at
Yes.
most. So if you screw up, like well, first of all, you can paint over it super easily. Wash it off, or just use it as experience. Use it to drive you onto your next miniature.
Yeah.
Don't let that keep you back. We all really have to start somewhere, and Gorilla's shown like his first ones. Tommy has shown his first one. I remember when I joined the server and I saw Tommy just pumping out miniatures, and the quality improvement, right? Just painting.
He was like that,
you learn
wasn't he?
so much by doing. Yes, you just have to do it. No matter how scared you are of it, like if you sit down with that brush and you have just the faintest hint of an idea in your head about how you're going to paint it, even if you can't execute perfectly, like you still tried. And seriously, like if we're talking about like participation awards, miniature painting, that's what you want. You want that participation award, because otherwise you got a pile of shame.
Yes.
And when you try new stuff, it's so rewarding. I did my first freehand actually on the ogre too. Painted a little hedgehog on him.
Yes, I remember that. And you did because you did a lighter brown, and I said it looked like a drop shadow. Depth, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I added some depth, and I learned that too. Right, I didn't even know what I was doing. You told me to do it, or maybe it was someone else, and that's what you learn. You learn by doing. You learn by asking questions and experimenting, and that's the fun part about making.
Yeah.
Because there's always something new to try, and you can't let that hold you back.
Excellent.
You just got to go for it.
Thank you ever so much for your time today, Jake. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you today, and I will look forward to talking to you again on the Discord. But thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.